Hey guys, it's Mr. Hebert here, and I just want to tell you I thoroughly enjoyed our first class session on Thursday. Great seeing you guys, and I know we're going to have a great year. So, I'm going to be posting a few videos this week, that's the plan, on elements of literature. It's really important that you take notes on these, so if you don't have a piece of paper and something to write with, quickly pause the video right now and get that ready to go. And I'm going to assume then that you are ready to go. So note-taking is super important. I just want to take a moment to talk about that. And the importance of note-taking is going to help you be successful in your career in high school and definitely in college as well. So good note-taking. Just make sure that you're not writing down every single word the teacher says or what's on the screen or board. And it doesn't mean you're saying it's not important. You're just not going to write down every single word. Sometimes students think I need to write down everything that I see. No, use phrases, use bullet points, use abbreviations. Okay, make sure you're getting the important ideas and the details, but do it in a way that is efficient. So I wouldn't write the word the. I wouldn't write the word and. I'd use a little plus sign for that. I'd probably abbreviate the word important right there. For me, my abbreviation for important is IMP. Okay? Now, of course, you guys have the advantage right now to pause this video and rewind it if you need it, but in a college classroom, for example, you won't be able to hit pause. That would be really cool, though, right? Just to hit pause and say bloop and take a moment and take care of what we need to take care of. I'd love to have a pause button in life, but that is not the way it is. So we got to make it work. We got to be efficient. And make sure you're paying attention to both what I'm saying and what your teachers say along with what's on the screen. So in my classroom, students are really good. If I put something on the slide, they're writing. But I may be also giving explanations on the side, like what I'm doing right now, right? Okay? And they're not paying attention to that. So I have to train them to listen to both. So make sure that you're paying attention and taking notes on both, what's on the slide or on the screen or on the board and what the teachers are saying. And make sure that your notes are for you. So it's okay that you have abbreviations that other people don't have. You might have an abbreviation that I don't get. You might look at my notes and say, what in the world does that symbol mean? And I go, oh yeah, that's my symbol for the Renaissance. That way I don't have to keep writing the word Renaissance. And I might look at your paper and you have a symbol for the hypostatic union. And I'm like, what? And you just go, oh yeah, that's my symbol. And I get what it means. Hypostatic union has to do with Christ being both 100% man and 100% God. So there's your theology there. Anyway, your notes are for you. And that means your understanding and your mastery of the information, okay? Now make sure you take really good notes on these videos and bring them in on Thursday, the 20th, because that means, because that's what we're going to be talking about. And you may be responsible for them. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You may have to show that you get it in some sort of assessment. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Okay, so make sure that you bring in all your great notes there. Don't come in and say, like, point to your forehead and be like, yeah, it's all up here, Mr. Hebert. And I'll be like, yeah, that's cool. I want it on paper. All right, so let's get into those awesome notes. And we're going to be talking about the elements of literature. Bloop. There it is. So elements of literature have to do with the foundations of literature. And some of it may be review. Some of it may be new. It's all good. I want everybody to feel successful. So our goals here, identify the elements of literature. We're going to define the elements of literature, and we're going to demonstrate understanding. So identify is, there they are, there they are, there they are. And define elements of literature means, what do they mean? Demonstrate understanding means, oh, this is how it applies to this piece of literature. This is how it applies to this piece of literature. Cool. And I'll be referring to literature as well as movies, because they are stories too that we're familiar with. So as we get into this, just a brief overview. Stories, both fiction and nonfiction. use these elements. Use structural character elements, and they're familiar to you, okay? Even if you haven't heard of all these terms, I know that these devices are familiar to you. You've read enough books, you've read enough stories, you've seen enough movies that you'll go, oh yeah, that's what that is. And of course, we're going to be using these as guides as we think about and talk about and write about and discuss and analyze all these different things with the story. So remember, these are both fiction and nonfiction. All types of literature use these. Fiction is what's made up. So that's fairy tales and plays and novels and short stories and in many cases poetry. And then you have nonfiction, which is historical narrative and biography and autobiography. And one of the important examples, absolutely the most important example of nonfiction literature is the Bible. Right. The Bible is a piece of nonfiction literature. And it's okay. It may feel a little bit weird to think of the Bible as a piece of literature because we usually think of literature as fiction. But it absolutely is literature. It's a beautiful, masterful piece of literature, and it uses these elements as well. So, again, it may feel a little weird at first. Some people think, oh, I can't think of it as literature because that's for the made-up stuff, and the Bible's not a fairy tale. Absolutely, it is not a fairy tale. And even though it uses similar devices as Mark Twain may use, or Charles Dickens may use, or Shakespeare may use, it's obviously on a totally different level. It's in its own category above every other piece of literature that's written because it is the Word of God, the inerrant Word of God. And God inspired these writers to tell his story, and they used literary devices that we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead and identify with those elements of literature. These are not all the elements of literature by no means, but some really foundational ones that are going to be important. So setting, protagonist and antagonist, character types. Wait, Mr. Hebert, character types? You mean, isn't that the same as protagonist and antagonist? And not exactly. That is a different thing. Ooh, stay tuned. Conflict, point of view, characterization. Wait a minute, Mr. Hebert, you're blowing my mind. Character types and characterization are not the same thing. They are not the same thing. And we will talk about it. Imagery, tone and mood, plot, and theme. And theme is last for a reason. It is deliberately last. So these are the ones that we're going to be focusing on in these videos. Certainly not going to be limited in what we talk about in our study of literature, but definitely a good foundation. So again, some of these may be review. Some of these you may say, oh, I've heard of that, but I'm not really sure what that means. So we might be going into a little bit more analysis than you're used to. Maybe not, but everybody's going to be successful. And I'm not really sure why those are circled. I don't really know. Okay, we'll just enjoy the artwork for a moment. All right, this is going to be the end of video 1, so you've started some notes here. I'll be posting video 2 as soon as possible, and I want you all to be successful, so make sure that you're taking good notes. As you're watching these, if you have questions, if there's something you want clarification on, good note takers write down their questions. I might be giving examples of stories and movies and novels and things, and you might think, oh, what? I wonder if that's the same in this movie or in this story that I read. Does it apply there too? Absolutely. Go ahead and write that down. And when we come back together as a class on Thursday, we can talk about that. Or if it's something that you really, really want to get clarified before Thursday, by all means, email me, let me know, and we'll do that. But I love it. I love it. You want to impress Mr. Hebert? I love it when students generate thoughts and discussion topics related to the lecture. Okay, I want to know that you are thinking and making this your own. So this is the end of video 1, and make sure you watch for video 2 and taking good notes, and I will see you guys later.